everyone, it's Shell from Shell Crochet. Welcome to my August 2021 crochet update. Shell. How are you today? Welcome back. Hello to all my friends and my new friends that are joining me today. It is August the 31st and wow, summer has really been flying by. We still have some summer left. I'm one of the people who likes to celebrate right until the very last day I can for summer and also one of the people who looks forward to fall. So with that said, let's get into it. So it's been quite a while since I've shown you anything that I've made. In my middle of the month update, I let you guys know we were on vacation, actually twice in the month of August. We were off for 2 whole weeks. My husband finally had an opportunity to take 2 weeks off in the summer, so we took advantage of that. And we're able to get away to a cottage that my sister-in-law was at, and also a little side trip just up to St. Jacobs area, which is very close to the Spin Right Factory outlet in Listwell. So a couple of side trips there too. And just a lot of relaxing time in that 2 weeks as well. There has been crochet, some of which I have and some of which I don't. But let me start by showing you the Mighty Mile a Minute meets Setta's calendar colors for my August strip. So it was a flower strip that Jayda did this time for the Mighty Mile a Minute. And I'll pop up a picture here of the calendar so you can see the color I chose to bring out was a tealy color. And as always, when I'm using a solid, I'm holding another yarn in there, held double, a very thin yarn. To this one was to bring out some whites and blacks that are also involved in the picture. You can see as it goes down. So this is really coming along. We have just September, October, November, and December to go, and September's will be out shortly. I'm sure the calendar picture is out tomorrow, and then the strip will be out on Friday, so looking forward to that. And really enjoying that I've used that Loops and Threads Endless Impeccable as my join color for this. This was a fun one to do. It takes a bit to learn it, just to get your head wrapped around it, but it does look like a little flower when you're done with it. I had talked about the beautiful cotton yarn Crystal had given me when I was over visiting with her earlier in the summer. And I wanted to be able to make sure I made something that I would love and be able to wear regularly with it because it's very special yarn. And I was able to finish that off. I think I showed you a little bit of this. So it is a granny shawl. And it's actually bottom up rather than top down. And it's a play on the Hooked by Robin mesh shawl that lots of people were making in their donations for wings. So you get the border here on the side. You don't have to do your own border. It's part of it. So if I can show you the other way around maybe, and I hold it backwards. There you go. But yeah, I was really, really happy to be able to use all of these up. There's 3 cakes of it in there. So you can see it's very generous when it's on me. There's tons to cowl up and hold down on my chest. It's so beautifully soft. So this will be a keeper and we'll get lots and lots of wear. But again, Crystal, thank you so much. It is just gorgeous and I know I will wear it all the time. So speaking of Crystal, I will pop up a picture here of a surprise birthday package that arrived at my door. It was a surprise box of yarn from Aberdeen Wool. And yeah, it was great. There was lots of puzzle yarn in there and some Premier Mega Brushed Chunky. Yeah, so very interesting and great options for me to use for hats and scarves and cowls and things for this coming up fall and winter. So thank you so much, Crystal. I appreciate it. You did not need to do that, but I really, really appreciate it. And yeah. It was awesome. And while we're on yarn, I will show you one more thing. My bestie brought me a whole basket full of ice yarns. She's heard me talk about ice yarns in the past, and she said she did this shopping many, many months ago. And I'm not going to pull it all out for you, but suffice it to say this entire basket is full of the yarn. and we were having quite a chuckle because most of it is actually thread. She gets an absolute A for effort, and there are some very interesting things in here that I know I will be able to make use of, but some of the thread is going to end up living for a very long time because it's very, very thin. But there are some things that I can do, a couple of tops maybe for some people, and I'm very interested to know what I can do with this purple. It's a super thick cotton, so we will see, and I really, really appreciate it. But that is my basket of ice yarn. I'm actually wondering if I could maybe make some of the wind spinners with that thread, because it might do well having such a lightweight fabric. And speaking of which, I will insert a little video right here. So super short and sweet, but that was my first wind spinner. And I did follow Anya's tutorial from Ophelia Talks. I really appreciated it. It was awesome. And I have seen that there are several people who have now put up what I would consider the same tutorial since. However, I've done something a little bit different. So as you could see from the first one I posted, it does, it's not really laying very flat. It's kind of curling. Yeah, so for me, they're curling quite a bit when I follow her exact instructions of going one direction only, snipping your yarn, starting over and going one direction. And for me personally, like one of the reasons I like to work back and forth is because of the texture it gives, and also it does help circle things to lie much flatter. So I started to modify that first and then still followed her instructions. But for my particular intention, putting the 3 double crochets in each of the 2 double crochets on the second to last round is way too many for me for it to lie flat. So this one's better. It's not the best one I have. I have another one that's even flatter than this, but I don't know where it is at the moment. But yeah, so I am going back and forth, working back and forth, and I am doing the chain row, the single crochet row as instructed, the double crochet row as instructed, and then the second double crochet row, instead of doing 3 in each stitch, I'm doing 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, and then coming back with the single crochets at the very end. And yeah, that's the one that feels like it takes forever because you have so many stitches to put a single crochet in. I'm really appreciative of the little tassel thing she did at the end, because I have found a couple of things now that I can make tassels on very easily here, so that's great. And yeah, just playing with some scraps. I have made a couple in 3-weight yarn because the ones in worsted are curling more than the ones in 3-weight for me. So I guess the thinner the yarn, the maybe easier they'll flow. We haven't actually had a chance to take any outside yet because it's been so hot here for the last couple weeks. We haven't really been outside. So hoping to be able to do that this weekend and actually see how they are in the breeze, and then consider what else I want to do with the wind spinners. But that's a great idea. And I've seen a couple of different variations pre-wind spinner that are more for just decor items that I'm also interested in looking at for Christmas decorations and things like that. So that was awesome. And as you saw at the beginning of my video, I have been diligently working on all my grannies. I still have a whole bag here of granny squares, and there's lots. I haven't counted what's remaining. I'm done about 95% done, should I say, 95% done on my diamond granny blanket. So I did pop up the Presto Changeo at the beginning, but here it is. I'll just show you a little bit. It is assembled and put together, but I still have to do all my ends at the back from the squares where they joined up. And I still have to do my border. I like to do one edged peak. The top and the bottom have the peaks, and I like the sides to be straight. So I have to come in with triangles in order to make that happen. So there are my triangles. This hasn't been in the jar yet, so it's still kind of tight, but it is massive. I can't even. Huge. And I'm calling this my Summer Meets Fall Diamond Square Granny Square blanket. So it's got a lot of like teals and some pinks and ivories and creams and stone colors, but tons of those fall colors too. Back in January, I think I had said what the cakes were, but there's, I think, 4 or 5 big cakes of squares that were made, and then some Bernat Super Value big stripes, I think those used to be called. 1 or 2 went into that, and then another miscellaneous cake I had gotten from Cambridge Fibers makes up all the squares. And at one point I was kind of feeling a little dejected about how many squares I had to put 3 rounds of charcoal gray on. So I just grabbed all the ones I had done so far and used that to create the palette for this blanket. And this blanket took 50 squares. So it's a little bit different when you assemble it on the, I'm calling it the bias, because basically you have 1, then 3, then 5, then 7, then 9, then 9, then 7, then 5, then 3, then 1. I can't believe I did that without making a mistake. But it makes it really easy to do it that way because it's just straight strips that you're joining, right? So yeah, so that's how that one ended up. I will put video of this completed in my next podcast mid-September, just so you can see it completely laid out on my king size bed after it's got its ends tied in and after it's got its border on there, and just to see how big it is. I think it is going to cover pretty much all of my king size bed, maybe not right up over the pillows, but close. So it's a big one. Each square is 9 inches and there's 50 squares. And yeah, so just think of them like there's 5 going this way across, but because of that you got to count this one underneath it as a bit of the width of the whole thing. So it's interesting, and I'm happy with it, and it's done. And I have a whole bunch more squares to play with, which I have a few ideas for, and I'm not going to commit to any of them yet, but I'm happy to have them done. I'm going to keep them without their border rows for now until I decide exactly what color I want to use on the ones that are remaining. And I also have a cake in here in case I want to add a little more color to this project of what's remaining, because Crystal had given this to me when I was out visiting her as well, and I think they go very nicely with what's already on the go in here. So that is going to be a fun one to just be able to pull out at some point when I don't have too much on the go, unlike the next few months, and be able to get something on the get something completed awfully quickly. Maybe somebody should count the number of times I say Crystal in this video, because I have told you that when I am using up some of the yarn she's given me, I'm going to show you what I've made with it. And I did that this time. So here's another one of the ones she gave me. I believe she got this from the Wool Queen. And I just made this hat. This is a very interesting yarn. So I'll put it on. Don't really want to. It's still like 30 something today, but I will put it on. Just give me a sec. There it is. So it's just like a little beanie style with a bit of slouch at the back, and just very interesting yarn. So it says Spindle Yarns Watercolor Swirl, and I'm not gonna be able to see any of the really small printing, so I'll put the rest on the screen if I can. It's a very textured yarn, and it's almost like some of it's held off of the other. It's super soft, and yeah, it was very interesting working with this yarn. It's nice and lightweight. It's not too heavy. There's lots of holes in it. And I think it might make a nice gift for someone, maybe someone who likes the Toronto Maple Leafs inspired colors there. So last time I had shown you this beanie out of this lovely Boogie Nights yarn, and I had another skein. So instead of another hat, I did a little neck warmer to go with, just to sit right in there. And if it's a set, there she goes. Not fiddling too much, it's really hot in here today, but that is quite the bling, right? I like the little neck warmer idea because you don't have to, no fuss, no muss, no scarf falling down, no big bushiness. It's good for certain times of the year, and you can't beat the bling, right? Is anybody wondering what I did with the neck warmer? Well, I have another one here, and it's probably a little bit easier to see, but both of these are just budget style neck warmers. So I'll start with a chain length or a foundation chain length, and just go back and forth and change my stitches around a little. So nothing too crazy in both cases, because the yarn is obviously speaking for you, with the first one with all that glitter and with this one with all these colors. So there's some cross stitches in here and some shells and a lot of double crochets, some treble crochets. You know, just keep to your stitch count. And this one I'm not going to put on, it's super warm. This is the rest of that Red Heart Dreamy in Sunset that I had, and I had put in as my April strip in the calendar blanket. So got to use that up as well. So after having gotten through that mystery ball in the blanket that I made last month, I was inspired to try using up my bulky weight one I have. So I made a couple of little scrap hats for the littles to go into the charity bin. And this is one. These are straight double crochet beanies. This actually has some like homespunish type yarn in the top there. Came out of one of those Bernat bundle yarns, so it's like homespun, but it's not homespun. Boucle-ish, if you will. Very squishy. And a few of these came out of that, and some of them came out of some Bernat Softy Chunky or Softy Chunky stripes. So these are definitely child size hats, this one and this one, and they will be super warm. Yeah, and just to make sure that the yarn would give me 2 hats, I just kept it very simple with just straight double crochet beanies. I think I did a little bit of post down at the top or the bottom of this one, but nothing on that one, just to get through it. So that inspired me to pull out one of my new cakes of Bernat Softy Chunky stripes. This one was called Misty Purple. I don't really know why, but I'll pop up a picture here of my husband modeling for me. So there is a scarf, beautiful scarf. So I don't know, to me these are kind of a creamy color with some grays. There's maybe a hint of purple in the gray, but doesn't scream purple at all. Very kind of masculine. This is very gender neutral, if you want to say. And I did a nice sort of open stitch because the yarn is so thick. So just a big hook with some double crochets. Again, no pattern for this, so just a lot of double crochets, some V-stitches, some cross stitches, some half double crochets. So there's some texture, but it's going to be super warm because it's that thicker yarn, but it's also nice and drapey. It's not going to like feel like you're claustrophobic with it. And so there was enough for 2 hats. So these ones I'm not going to try on. It's getting really warm in here. So there's one of them. And I love when I do my videos and then I'm putting my hand on the inside of the hat and I find an end. So I'll have to fix that. But yeah, nice and drapey as well, not too restrictive. And then this is the other one. I can't remember if it was 1 cake or 2 cakes that got me the scarf and 2 hats. It might have only been 1. I only have 1 ball band down here, so anyway, I'll see if I wrote it down, but yeah, I'm not so sure this yarn's around anymore anyway. It's very similar to Caron Chunky Cakes or this anniversary cake yarn, but this is actually softer and it doesn't quite unwind on itself as badly as those ones do. So yeah, some winter stuff on the go. I was sitting here and I was thinking to myself, there doesn't seem to be enough stuff. Mostly because the other thing has been hanging on the wall this whole time and I couldn't see it. Anyway, let's finish with the littles first. So there's been some dishcloths, just half double. I like to do, start the row with a regular half double stitch and then start going under the 2 loops in the front, and it still creates a ridge. I prefer to pull up 2 loops than 1. And these ones, this one is in between the stitches of half doubles. So on this side it's completely flat, but on that side it has all kinds of texture. And this one was a happy accident. So I was doing post stitches and I had in mind to like only do them in sets and then take a break and go back so there'd be texture, right? And then I realized if you only do 1 row of double crochet, you're not going to be on the same side of the cloth. So I thought I'd turn into that into a bit of an experiment. So on, let's see if I can get it. On this side of the cloth, the post stitches are in the middle, and on this side of the cloth, the post stitches are at the top and the bottom. So it's kind of cool. Lots of texture. There are some makeup removers type scrubbies and a couple of soap saver socks I had, and of course they've disappeared now that I'm sitting here recording. But you know, the littles often disappear. I guess I haven't talked about the bath mat yet, although the pictures were at the very beginning. So I'll pop another one up here. This is actually the bath mat at its new home. I've talked about these before. I just make these with basically 1 large skein of Bernat blanket yarn held double with cotton, and usually a cotton that looks very similar to the color I'm using. And cotton for absorbency and a little bit of extra weight because it's going to go on a floor that's probably going to be fairly slippery. Blanket yarn's very slippery. But yeah, just to help it absorb some of the water as well. And usually they take 1 full skein of 1 large skein of the Bernat blanket. And so this one was in like a white. So I found this when Michael's had some stuff on clearance. It's called Marshmallow, and then just regular white Bernat Handicrafter. And yeah, I did a little bit of an extra cotton border on this one, but that went off to the besties place ages ago now. I had a very tiny little bit of a variegated yarn left when we were up at the cottage, and I started an Octo. And then hubby had really liked one of the ones I had before that already walked out the door. So he actually designed the brows. He designed where the eyeballs were gonna go and how the brows are. And so this is his. And I started calling him Winky. I don't know why exactly, but they all get their name, right? So this was a mill end, and I have no idea what it is, but this kind of yarn works awesome for these little guys. So anyway, he doesn't live in the yarn room, so we're down to just this one over here. This one lives out where my husband can see him at all times because he likes him, which is great. Okay, so finally, a poncho. So I followed finally this beautiful poncho pattern by Yolanda Soto Lopez that's been around for years and years and years. I'm sure everyone has seen both the beautiful Seta and the beautiful Z, modeling them all of the time. I know lots of people have made these. And this is just in Red Heart Ombre in the gray tone. I thought they were getting rid of this yarn, but I saw some again at Walmart at regular price, which is now $9.97 at Walmart. But this was just scraps. I had actually tried to make a bod poncho last year, pop up a picture here, and it didn't work out well. I had modified or tried to modify part of the stitches that weren't lace, and I didn't like the way it looked when it was done. So I had pulled it all out probably about a year ago now, and the yarn was just sitting in a ball. So I grabbed it and we have this now. So they're really nice when they're just lace like that, right? And very kind of anything goes over a t-shirt with jeans or a little dress. Anything goes with these, and you can't beat that ombre. So that was a nice easy make as well. So I am going to consider the Diamond Granny a whip because I do need to finish it up as I was talking about earlier, and I do have one more whip. This is in pretty good shape, but one of the things I was so happy to see had spin right was this purple cotton. We regularly don't see solids as much at Walmart. I really never see solids at Michael's in the big balls, maybe white or Aran, but I just never really see great like bold colors, right? So when I saw these, $4 each, buy two, get one free. Awesome. And I already had some of this. I think a bunch of people have shown this yarn. I think this is called Garden Party. And I thought those two are going to go so great together. And I've always liked to make the cotton blankets now that I made that huge king size one last year. I'll put a picture of the king size blanket I made last year on at the very end of the video. But here's what I'm making. I'm doing another modern granny. One of the things I didn't like about the process of making the modern granny the first time is because I was using self-striping yarn as one of the two yarns I held together. I felt like I was going over some of the color, because when you do the chain row, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to crochet over that. In this case, I'm using a solid and then a variegated. It doesn't feel like you're losing any of the tones from the self-striping yarn, right? So I'm much happier doing this one. It is, I had in mind, so the solids are 400 grams and the variegateds are slightly less, like 394 or something, not a big difference. But this is 1+ on the solid purple. And I think I'm not quite at the halfway point of the colored. So the color's not in here that much, but I am in the home stretch. So I've done 6 purple, 2, 6 purple, 2, now 3 purple, and going back to 2, maybe 1. I haven't decided yet because I am going to wind it down. I'm sitting on a chair. This is touching the floor and touching my shoulders, and it's, you know, wider than me. So it's a good size just for a lapgan. I was thinking of a little girl when I started this project, but it's just someone who loves purple and pinks because it can be anywhere, right? At the right point for summer, or just because you like the colors. So yeah, that is a current whip, and we'll be done probably by the next time I see you. If you missed anything I was talking about regarding the yarn that I picked up during the birthday extravaganza, just have a look back at the previous video and you'll find it all there. Super happy with how my yarnscape is looking and shaping up for my hiatus that has started. And yeah, I don't need any yarn. It is in good shape for blankets and sweaters and Christmas things. Oh my. One other little acquisition I can tell you about that is not really yarn related, but it's kind of stitch marker related. I was very curious about these huge lobster claws that Amazon had, and they're plastic, but some of the regular stitch markers, just the plasticky little guys, I like those. They're easy, and if I need a lot of them, it's easy to grab a bunch, right? Sometimes with the bigger projects like the bath mat, the thicker yarns, they're not really big enough. So I thought these would work well, and I'm very, very happy with them. I've been toying around with putting little crocheted embellishments on the bottom, and I still will, but if anyone's ever wondered what those are like, that's what they are from Amazon, and not very expensive to get a bunch of them, so that will come in handy with some of the thicker projects. Oh, and you may have seen my sign. Hubby gave that to me for my birthday, amongst other things, and it's just a little Dollarama sign, and it works perfect for what I need, so very happy with that. September is going to be busy. I have 2 birthday presents that have to be completed in the month of September for people who have birthdays in October, and both of them are sweaters. Thankfully, they are not too huge, so I will be able to get through them pretty easily. But yeah, I got to get that stuff on the hook very soon. I have a blanket that I have to make sometime in the fall, and a bunch of other things. I should really look at my list. And I think I'll wrap it up there. I'll have some pictures for you at the end as usual. And I'm happy to be back. I hope everybody's doing well. I am super behind on YouTube, but I am going to endeavor to catch up over the next little while. Hope everyone's been having a wonderful summer, and we still have time left. Summer's not over for another few weeks. I will see you in the middle of September. So for now, I will say goodbye. Have a great day, everybody, and happy crochet.